after year. And there's a little bit that goes, oh, because you're getting it out and haven't seen it for a year. But then you start putting it out and it doesn't make you happy. It doesn't make you smile. You don't go by the dining room table and go, oh, that's so cute. Then change it up. Because I want you to walk by your porch, walk by your dining room table and just go, that is so cute. Or when you have someone over for dinner. I have so many men comment on my centerpieces. And I am not necessarily saying men don't, but many men don't. And they go, oh my goodness, look at that. What kind of flowers are those? Oh, those colors. And to make it fun for people and inviting. So some of the things I'm going to show you some tips and how-tos, and other things I'm going to, because of time's sake, I'm going to have done some of it beforehand to help it flow along. What we're going to do today, and if I think you can all see on the Zoom, this vessel, is we're going to use something like this for a centerpiece. And the reason I say that is because I have tried to teach people in an hour class how to do an arrangement in a vase, and they get frustrated. And I don't want you to get frustrated. I want you to be successful. So what I have found is if you use something like this, or anything oval, anything like that, that the stems are shorter and it's easier to understand where to put them, purchase that, grab it, get one for each season, whatever it is. White is great for all year round, and you can just do other things with it. The other thing is that I'm trying to do more things in water and chicken wire as opposed to foam. The reason is foam is, for the most part, does not break down in our dumps and in our garbages and things like that. And so, and flowers also stay fresher in the water as opposed to the foam. So what I've done is I've made chicken wire, and if you want to hold up the chicken wire. Yeah. So I've just rolled it up and put it like this in here. Okay. So you can just buy the coated or the other. You want to show the other? Mm-hmm. The coated is nice because it doesn't rust or anything like that in your water. But if you're doing a clear vase or a clear vessel, this is a little more obscure. So that's why you could hide that. Just get it from your local hardware store or a big box. Then what I do is, because I use this over and over, is I just wash this in a little sudsy water with a little, drop of bleach in it, and just able to use this over and over and over. Okay. You can do that in any vessel. Was there a question you kind of?
No.
Okay. All right. So what I want to show you is about taping. And I know this may sound basic, but if you have tape that gives away all the time, that can be really frustrating. So what you want to do is you want to have your vessel really dry. I usually tape it and then put the water in so that it stays. So what you want to do is you want to have your tape on tape. So first you're going to go around your vessel, no matter what shape it is, and stick your tape on it. And it's floral tape. Floral tape is stretchy. It has some give to it, and it's quite sticky. You can get it in clear, green, white, different things like that. So depending upon your vessel color, you'll want to do that. So I went around like that. I have my chicken wire in it, and then I'm just going to make a quick little grid across the top. I pull it tight, I push it down, and then I make it adhere. I know it sounds really basic, but you don't want it to give, and you want the stability of it being taut. So, sorry, Christine, you're having a hard time seeing. Shall I move these? Okay. All right. So you're just going across like this, pulling it tight and making your grid. And that can be true of whatever vessel that you use. And however close you want. I probably have these 1.5 inches, 2 inches apart maybe. And then one more down the middle. Pull it tight, push it down. And then I'm going to go all around the vessel one more time to have that all stick. Okay. And when I do change this out, or the flowers have expired, I take this tape off. If it leaves a little bit of residue, try and scrub it off, or else use a little Goo Gone to get it off so that you have nothing left, no residue left. Okay. That's nice and firm. It's going to last. And then make, of course, your little friendly ear so you and the next person can get that off there. what I want to show you first is just doing greens year round. I used to think, what is the beauty of greens? Oh my goodness. I have very much of a different attitude about it. All these are from my yard, and I'm going to show you some of that. I want to very much encourage you all to grow ferns. Get a hanging basket, 8 or 10-inch hanging basket. Take it out of the hanging basket. Loosen it up. This is the master gardener side of me. Loosen it up. Put it in a large pot. Add some more soil to it and let that baby grow. I have 2 that I cut from every couple days. They've gotten to be about this big. And I think just pruning them, cutting them all the time, just makes them even more prolific. And they keep well. They're cheap. I mean, you can pay $19.99 for that hanging basket, enjoy it all summer in this pot, and cut from it once a week, and you have lots of stuff. So what you want to do, and I'm just going to quickly do some things here. Notice the other thing that you want to do is you want to try and not have foliage in your water. Okay, so you're pulling that off so that because that increases the chance of bacteria in the water, the more foliage that you have in the water. So we're just going to put some different greens. And the fun thing about chicken wire is, oh, I don't like it there. Huh? Just pull it out. Let's put it in a little bit like this, where when you have floral foam and you've put it in there, you can't use that hole again. It's hard for the plant to suck up water in that already made hole. So you can just redo it all the time with chicken wire, which is really, really nice. So I'm just going to, like I said, I'm just doing different greens. And I want to show you how this course was really long. You're not wasting it. Just do a little short one. You think of, oh, I don't have a tall vase to put this in. Then don't use it tall. It's okay. I used to think, oh, I don't want to wait. Well, it's okay. And you can always, of course, add more to them. Oh boy, I don't have my phone off so you guys probably didn't hear that. Okay, so we got some ferns going, different ways. You want to know what this is? Parsley. This is a great time of year to pick your herbs and put them in your arrangements. What you want to do for most herbs, parsley, is that you're picking a mature stem. They're going to suck up water and stay sturdy longer. The darker green, that's true. I'll show you with the sage and different things like that, is that you want to pick the more mature stems. That's also a little aromatic on your table or wherever you're doing something. Different shade of green. This is eyelash begonia. But this eyelash begonia doesn't bloom. It's just for the foliage. I've had it for a couple of years. I encourage you, take your houseplants outside, put them in dappled light. They are going to love it. They're going to be like, yes, this is where I belong. This is one of those things. I've had this for a couple of years. I was given one of these 2 years ago. I have a pot this huge and I pick from it all the time. It keeps well in water, fun leaf, all those kinds of things. So you have a different look there, don't you, with that kind of full, dense, big leaf. You're not going to be able to see this from the top as well with the water in, although I'll try, maybe I'll just make a mess so that you can see it. But do you see how you can just go, oh, I don't like the leaf there, and put it somewhere else? And that's okay. That's how you're learning. That's the fun of it. And you'll feel a little bit more successful that way. Okay, so I have lots of big green leaves there. I have my fern. Here's some sage. That softer green, if you guys could smell this up here, it just makes me want turkey and stuff. So the other thing you want to do is give some height now. Okay, we're laying some down. We're having different shades of green. And now we're going to have some more that stand up. And of course, if you have nothing in the water, like I'll take these herbs home and use them now. because I haven't put anything in the water when I take this, when I take this apart. I strongly encourage that with arrangements. Don't put anything in the water. Just change the water every day. Keep that bacteria out of there. And you'll be happy. They'll be happy. The preservative in the water is just to keep down the bacteria. And you don't change the water. So just change the water. It's a really easy solution. Okay, here's some, not lemon verbena, lemon balm. Okay, picked it yesterday. That's the thing is, of course, when you're picking anything in your yard, you're picking it in the early morning or in the evening. Your water's right with you. You're putting it right in the water. You're letting it hydrate for a good 12, 18 hours before you're using it, so that you can, it's sturdy and it's, well, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, what else did I pick for this? Okay, now I think this is fun. Just like this on the table. This would make me happy. Okay, look how easy that is. Just stick in, pull out. Always cut something longer than you think you need. You can always trim it up. Okay, and you want to make sure those stems are in water. Now, another thing you can do.
Tracy, we hold it just close to the.
Hold what? This?
Yeah, just one time.
So see, you could make it fuller. I'm just limited on time here. So you could just, you could make this little vessel and everything in water this big easily, even though it's narrow. Okay, one of the fun things to do, and I pulled all my tomato plants the other day, but I didn't pull this last pepper plant. So look at this. How fun is this to put in here? You're gonna sit at the table and go, oh, wasn't that cute? Someone's gonna come over. Or if you're giving as a gift, you're taking to someone else's house for dinner. I had 2 peppers. Oh yeah. And if you only have 1 of something, that's okay. If you only have 2 of something, the age-old rule of odds and 3s and 5s, do whatever you want. It's okay. And see that chicken wire in there, even though this isn't very deep, helps these stems stand up. If that wasn't in there, these things would just be falling all over the place. Okay, so that is helping it. And as you get going, and the tape is as well, as you keep moving, it's a little hard sometimes to find a place. So you just kind of move around. So if I want, I can make something tall like that in the middle and work its way down. Okay, you do all that, you can leave it. Or if you go, I want some color in there. First, let's just do some what I will call rustic things. Go ahead, if there's a hunter in your family, if you want to go to the craft store. This one's a little long. Go ahead and make it a little masculine, even in this white container. I think putting some of these feathers in is just fine. Okay, you've just changed the whole look now. Okay, putting a few feathers in. And of course, I would probably change them, move them a little, a little elsewhere. This is amaranth. If you don't grow amaranth and you have room to grow amaranth, grow it. I pick from it. It's probably ready. I started from seed, and this goes to seed and falls on the ground, so it'll come back up the next year. But I also save some and sprinkle them. I bet I can start picking from it in July, and my yard still hasn't froze. I picked these yesterday. So if you decide, let's do a little burgundy theme. Let's elongate this a little bit. Look at that. Just that. You've just added a few more stems. Should we add a couple gorgeous dahlias? Yes, let's add a couple gorgeous dahlias. Sorry, I shouldn't have quiet time. Now you've just kind of elevated a little bit more, haven't you? If you want to put some mums in there, just, kind of go along that theme. How pretty is that? If you want to do something like, I don't have my phone for time.
12:17.
Okay. This is Love in a Puff. I have seeds for you after class if you want it. It grows on a vine. It has little white flowers. The little white flowers turn into these puffs. When these puffs age, and you can put this on a stick. And you can put like 3 of them on a stick. Okay, and and tape it, and I'll show you with something else later. And then you can set these in arrangements. They don't even actually have to be in water, and they're not going to shrivel up for a couple days. So you could just put them in the center of the arrangement. If you have them on a stick, you can hang them over the edge, which I'll show you in just a second what this looks like. And put a couple throughout. So you see I have it in the center. Pick from these all summer long. You can put them on a stick and hang them over the edge. How fun is that? Now, the really, really fun thing is I have a bag of them somewhere. Here. So when they age, they get brown and the seeds are inside. You won't be able to see this online or in class there, but when I hand them out, you will. 2 to 3 seeds per pod. And on every seed, every black seed is a very clear white heart. It's on every one. It's not, does that kind of look like a heart? It's a heart. And that's why it's called Love in a Puff. And you just keep these seeds, plant them again, and it's really, really fun. I have so many of them that I put them in a little bowl and put them in part of an arrangement. So anyone can see, you know, the seeds themselves just in a little dish. And that's really fun. So any questions about this?
I do have a
Yes.
question, kind of in general. When you're saying to change water every day, you have to disassemble that and put it back together then.
Good question. The question is, how do you change the water every day effectively? So what you do is you just go like this, pour it out in your sink. That's all you need to do. No, you don't have to disassemble it. And then what I do, I have one of my little faucets has a nice gooseneck, whatever you want to say. So it works well, but otherwise just put water then in your watering can in a arrangement like this, because it would be hard to get the faucet down in there and fill it up. And I just stick my finger in there to kind of tell how tall the water is. So yeah.
There was a question on Zoom about cattails.
And I'll get to that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay.
Set this up maybe up here.
So you can do whatever. Yes. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I want to show you how you can use, again, a rectangle, but it could be circular. It could be out of whatever material that you like. I just happened to choose this metal one today. So what I want to do, and I purposely didn't bring potted mums because I think for the most part, you know what to do with a potted mum. You know, whether you're putting it, 3 of them together in a large container or in a basket themselves. But what I want to encourage you to do when you're using potted mums is if you're putting it in a large pot, once again, take it out of that plastic pot that it's been growing in for months. Loosen up those roots and put it in the soil of your pot. And it's going to be so much happier if you're able to do that. It's going to grow and it's going to look good in that container. But if you want to really fill out and kind of spread out and be really happy, that's what I would encourage you to do. So we're going to do 2 different kinds here, 2 different designs. Sorry. One is going to be with a little more rustic. All right. So what I want to show you is a little different because I'm backwards here. I think I have to do it this way and then turn around and show you guys. Sorry. Okay. So a couple of things I want to show you inside to bring things up. There's lots of different options. You can use reusable dry foam. Okay. So in that sense, you're purchasing this, but you're not throwing it away. I have a whole box of these that I just keep reusing, different cut sizes. Crumple up some paper, newspaper. This is what I get a lot of my flowers in a box, and they just pad the bottom of the boxes. So I just keep these all and I use them to elevate something, or even empty containers like this. We're going to put moss over it. And so you're not going to see these things, but go ahead and don't be afraid of the height of something like this. Put things in there and make it stable. The paper is really helpful to make things stable if you're using a lot of containers and foam, just stick in between and scrunch it up and make those things a little more stable. If they're just on your dining room table, probably not as important. But if it's outside on your patio table and it's windy, you want to know those things aren't going to knock over. Okay. So one of the things you could do is you could put a wreath in the corner of this. Now I brought two wreaths. One, I wanted to show you this one. I made this one 10 years ago. I think it still looks kind of cute and kind of rustic. This is just magnolia leaves and some dried things that I have. And I usually put a bowl right here and change that out depending upon my color. So go ahead and make something like that that you know is going to keep and be able to use it over and over. But what I want to show you is in order for this wreath to stay in the foam, you're going to take a pick and you can buy these picks. You can use the skewers. It's a bag of skewers if you can look for it, Brittany.
Okay.
That you just get in the grocery store. Might be in my basket too. No, they're wood color, natural color. Maybe they're, oh, here they are. I see them sticking out of the bag. So what's your, and so you could cut them to length and just use some regular wire that you get to wire things, or you can purchase these, whatever you'd like to do. But what you can do is you can push it through here and stick it into this foam, and that's going to make it stable wherever you put this box. Okay. So just some little tips like that I want to show you. Okay. This is the one I whipped up quick this morning. I'm going to add a little bit to it with you to show you. But what I want you to see is go ahead and pick something in your yard and spray it. It doesn't have to be any kind of special spray. I spray live flowers all the time and they don't die. I just think that's crazy. As careful as you have to be, like with a hydrangea, because colored hydrangeas for me, for my wholesaler, is 2 or 3 times more than a white one. So I just spray them and keep them happy and we're good. And of course you can put dried hydrangeas in arrangements like this as well. Okay. So what I want to show you is I put that in there. You can wire around it, just not taking the time to do that. I put these in here on wire. Does anyone know what these are? Straw flowers. They are some of my favorite things in the fall. You can grow them yourselves. You can purchase them. When they are fresh, they're a little bit more closed, but they always feel like straw. So you cut them fresh, put them in water. They keep indefinitely. But then what I do is when I'm done with them in my arrangement, I hang them upside down, let them dry. And then I put them on a pick like I did there. And I have a little vase of them. I wanted to show you. Could you give me that vase of them? And what you do is they're a little fragile. So what I do, so see how I had these they were like this, and then I hung them upside down. So what I do is I wire them on my pick. Should have a smaller pick. But the stems are very fragile because they're dry and brittle, okay? But I think it's a little difficult to tape when they're brittle. So first I use the wire, okay? And then I get my green floral tape, which is somewhere. Will you see if it's in there, Brittany? I thought I got it out. So this is what you're going to use. You just rip it with your hand. Green floral tape is stretchy and it's a little sticky on one side. You don't have to, which side is it? It'll work, okay? Stretch it a little to begin with. Hold it. And then as you're going around, stretch it and then overlap a little bit so it's sticking to each other. But do you see how I don't have to be careful because they're wired?
Sure.
Well, that doesn't usually happen, but I'll just go back up and get them. But generally speaking, you don't have to be as careful because you've wired them, okay? And you can just go around with your tape, but you can't just wire. You have to use this nice tape on them. And then, and you can use a longer stem or not, depending upon what you're doing it in, or shorter, and then just put a little hot glue on here, just for sake of time, I won't do that, and add that to your center, okay? Or put a bow there or whatever it is that you're doing. I also wanted to show you with some dried that you pick from your yard or from the ditch, and you spray. Once again, you're going to take this green tape, because these branches, these little stems would be hard to stick in your wreath. So go ahead again and use your tape and just go around. Pulling it and just going around. Then you have this nice, almost like a stick to stick in whatever you're doing, even if you're putting in a pot or whatever it is that you're doing. Rip off if you have extra and don't need it. And then I try to make it a little pointed on the bottom so that I can put it in here better. And maybe, just do something like that. I'm just trying to do it quick. Okay. So however elaborate you want to make this, but you can just do that with your wreath. Then what you can do is, let me see what else is on my list. I'm gonna add to this. We can put a few potted plants in if we'd like. So let's do. So here I put a little of the straw flowers in there, just stuck them down into the soil. A round ornamental cabbage would be really nice there. I had a few of them and then some people ordered them over the weekend, so I didn't have them for you, sorry. But that would be cute there. But then again, you're carrying on that theme here of adding some color and that kind of thing to it. Then what you can do is, if you want to put some fresh stems in, does anyone know what this is from?
Take-out.
Absolutely. You can use a mason jar, whatever it is that you want. If you want to purchase them from them, I think they sell them for like 20 cents a piece or something at the deli. They'll just give you some. You could tape this and use water, or I just wanted to show you the example of doing the floral foam. Okay, and you're getting it wet and putting some water in so that it continues to have water for you. And then you can put that in there. Could you find my phone? I just need to know what time it is all along here.
There's the clock there.
Oh, good. Okay. So now you could put some fresh stems in here or just some more greens if you'd like to do that, just to add some color there. You could do, I have a little votive. Okay, you could put this either in the front so you see it and put a little battery operated light in there. You could put twinkly lights on here. You could put a little in here. I mean, there's just lots of fun, different things that you can add. Of course, there's always gourds you can put in there. And if you want to do some color, I have some really good friends and he grows a big garden. And sometime in September, he sends me a text and says, "Do you want a box full of gourds?" I'm like, "Yes." And so I just bake him a few tasty treats and we're even. So what you could do with this is you could just set these in here. Depending if it's on your table, fine. You don't need to be careful of them falling out or be as conscious of it. But what you could do is you could take these and stick them in there. And I brought a little handy dandy. This is what I tie my string for my turkey with. But it works well. So what you want to do is you want to poke your hole in here. This would probably break to do that first. So you're just going to make a little hole in there so that you can then, and of course, once you get through most of it and up to the seeds, and it's going to push in there and you'll use that pointed end. Then you can get some height in here for different things that you want. Go ahead and push it in the soil of one of those pots. Just do some different things to add to it and to make it more stable. I used to not know that I could do that to those little gourds and push things in there. And I'd be frustrated that they were moving. Just like, oh, just, put them where you want them to be. So any questions about this? I could make it more full and I would make it more full just for sake of time. I'm not doing that. Okay. Another thing I want to show you is if we went with the theme of white and metal and a little bit of green, which is very popular now. I tend to be a naturalist, so the thought of white pumpkins didn't go over well with me until the varieties came out that you could really grow white pumpkins. Then I'm like, oh yeah, that's okay now. No, I thought they were cute. It wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to use. No. So what you can do is, I have a white lantern. Could I have that white lantern? go ahead and put a lantern in. Okay, put a little, I have a candle in there, battery operated candle. Of course, they have them remote now. So you can just, stand wherever, whether it's inside or outside, and do that. And you'll have that. This for some height. So wherever you decide, it's really difficult for me to do it backwards, guys. Sorry. It's kind of like when you teach yoga and you got to do it backwards. It's very different. Okay. Now, one of the things you can do is you can take little bottles or mason jars. But what I like about little bottles like this, or even like the brown bottles that you can get different like ginger beers in and things like that, clean the label off, and because they have such a small neck, it's easy to put a couple stems in them and for them to be secure. So you could go ahead and have some green in here. And this is just, I encourage you, grow a couple jade plants, let them get really big and cut them all the time. They're happy to be cut. You use them, they'll take root, and then you have another one if you keep this long enough, or unless you give it, give it away to someone. What else do I have on here for my white and green? White pumpkin, raccoon. Okay. I think it's fun to put animals and things. Here again, they make it. This is just styrofoam on the bottom. Go ahead and put your pick in there. Put it wherever you want. I'm sticking it in the foam just to give it some height. Okay. So, right? I mean, just use your imagination, look around your house, find some things that you can do. If you have some faux things, would you put a couple of chips into here? If you want to be all natural, of course, there is white pumpkins and other things you can put in here to keep with the white theme. Okay, just for sake of time, I'm not going to do that, but you could add some of these. You could put them one on top of each other, right? Follow that all the way through there and do that. You could, you could put some faux pumpkins in here. Where do I want this? Turn around again. Sorry, guys. Oh, I needed a long. Let me tell you a long one. Yeah. Okay. There again, I'm pushing it into that foam, but you could also have just use the dried foam down there or put the flowers in there. Okay, so see how you can just add, but just look at this green and white. It doesn't have the traditional fall colors to it, but in this metal, how fun is that? Then if you want to add a little bit of color, you could add some of the straw flowers there. You could put some dahlias in there. And that's the fun thing about having either the foam or a jar in there, that you could change out those fresh flowers and keep all this the same. And just have to lift out that jar or that container to put your fresh flowers in there and have that color. So any questions about that?
There was a question earlier about the chicken wire. It's 1 inch by 1 inch.
Oh,
right.
Probably. Someone asked that last night. Is that what you guys would say? I just look at
I
it.
feel like chicken wire has to be that.
And it's kind of octagonal or 6 sides. What's 6 sides?
Hexag.
Yeah. And then this one I think is the same. It's probably 6-sided. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Hexagon. So yes, the other thing I want to show you guys is putting moss to hide all your stuff now. Okay. So you can either purchase moss like this, but I would suggest if you get a bag of it that you keep it chilled. It keeps a lot longer. It'll dry out and get a little brittly if it's not cold. So I keep this in my flower cooler. And so if you get a bag of it, just keep it in your refrigerator or I don't know, of course in the garage if you have a heated garage over the winter. But one of the things that you can do, I'll turn around again, sorry guys. And you could do it in pieces. What I suggest is that you initially do it in a long piece to keep it all together. And then in some places that you need to hide something else, you use some pieces. And I'm just going to show you this from the front. And you decide the look you want, how much of it you want to show, whether you only just want to hang a little bit over the edge, but doesn't that have the finished look to it? And you can just keep using this over and over. When I'm done with that, I put it back in my bag or my box and put it in there, and you can just keep reusing it. Another kind of moss you can use, and I used to go out and forage this in my yard, but now I just go through so much of it, I have to purchase it. But you can just get live moss. It's a bit messy, so I would strongly suggest that you do this when on your patio table, or your deck or something like that, as opposed to your dining room table. But sorry, library. There's just no neat way to do this. I just want to show you the different look that the natural moss has. And there again, I spritz this, I keep it cool, I do those kinds of things. If you're just going out to pick it and use it for this, then of course you don't have to maintain it. But my lantern's falling, sorry. But go ahead and spritz this then while it's on your table. But then you have a different look with that, don't you? How fun is that? Yes, and so you would put it all, in between, different places like that. That's how you can hide that paper that you've crumbled up, any of your foam, any of those kinds of things. So.
How would, like, if you're bringing it from the outside again, the bugs? Is there a chance to bring bugs in?
There is, people ask me that, even when I bring my house plants in, how clean do I get them off? I don't have a thing about bugs. So I guess it doesn't really matter to me, but like when I pick flowers, I give everything 24 hours. So I spritz it, I look over it, I set it on a screen when I'm spritzing it and let it a little bit, stuff fall through. And so that would be, I guess, the time. For the most part, the bugs leave it. I've never had an issue with it. But that would probably be what you would do. Yeah. Oh, I'm not showing you guys well at all. I'm so sorry. But yes.
Is the first one Spanish moss? Is that how you buy it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say I'd encourage you to get it from a florist instead of a big box, just because when you get it from a florist, when I get it delivered, it says on here, let me show you. It's a fresh moss product. Please store in cool place. When you get it in a bag in a big box, do you think they've done that? It's been in those bags for a long time. So it's pretty dry and brittle. What I like when you use it like this fresh and you keep it that way is it's not as messy and doesn't come off, because I use this then on my dining room table. And when I stick it in well or put a few staples in, I don't feel like the mess comes on my table when it's softer like this and not as brittle. But getting some is better than not getting any at all. So, okay. Any other question about that? I'd love to fill in more for you guys. I just don't have the time. Well, actually bring it back a second. Let me just show you how sticking a few stems in that floral foam. Where is my floral foam? There it is. Okay. I'll just reuse some of these that I cut. I never even put yellow ones in, did I? Okay. So if you decide to use some color, of course, you could just use some white flowers to keep this thing going, or some greens hanging over, some live greens pushed into this floral foam. But what I want to encourage you to do, actually, I think I'm going to do that a little bit. I'm not as crazy about the yellow in here, but I just want to show you how you could change this up with some fresh flowers and change the whole look. And I would have done this before I put that floral foam, or before I put that moss, because it's kind of hard for me to see it now. All right, let me put. All right. So now you've added a few fresh flowers, stuck a little green into that floral foam, and you've just changed the whole look. But it's pretty easy to poke in 2 or 3 or 4 stems. And that's what I want to encourage you all, is that it doesn't have to be real difficult. Just do little things by little things. And I think just little tips are what people need to make it successful, because they just see this finished product and they go, how did that happen? So, okay, now you can have it. Okay, is anyone interested in seeing how to make a bow?
They sure.
Seeing how to make a bow?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so what is it called when you can't do something forever? Is it like your Achilles heel, or what's that saying? All right. I literally, up until maybe a year ago, I paid friends of mine to make me bows for arrangements, because, you know, I watched videos, and when I interned at a flower shop, the gal tried to teach me, but unless it's, to me, it's not said the way you learn or shown the way you learn, it doesn't connect with me. Just doesn't. So I'm going to show you the way that works for me. It may not connect with you, but it's simple. And that's what I like about it. Whenever you're making a bow, I would strongly suggest, especially in the beginning, that you get a wired bow. Okay. It's a little easier to work with. It keeps its shape. So like you could do an accordion kind of thing with this and see how it keeps its shape. Okay. So that's what I mean, as opposed to just a satin one. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a length down. That's going to be your tail. All right. And you pinch it, just pinch it. There's obviously a right and wrong side. If your ribbon does not have a right, wrong side, then don't worry about it. Okay. So all you've done is you have it hanging and you pinch it. Okay. You twist and you bring it towards you. Simple. Just bring it towards you. This is going to be the biggest part of the bow. So you decide, when you're thinking about it being on both sides, how big your final product is. Okay. So you twist it, bring it towards you. Pinch. Twist, bring it towards you. Right? It's coming towards you. I like the repetition of this. Okay. Bringing it towards you. Pinch. Twist. Bring it towards you. But you're getting smaller now, right? Pinch. The hardest part, I think, is keeping this pinched in your hand. Oh, and could you cut me a piece of wire so it's ready? That green wire, wherever it ended up being. I don't know if I ever took it out. Did I? Okay. I pinched it. I'm twisting it. I'm bringing it toward me. Right? Okay. I could just stop there. You can decide how many you want on each side, whether you want 2, 3, 4, just for sake of a time, I'm just going to do 2. Okay. You could completely stop there and have your 2 tails, and I'll show you that in a second. Oh, now I'm losing it. I like to have a little poof in the middle. You don't have to, but there again, you're twisting it and you're just making a small one in the middle. Okay. And I don't cut this tail until I know this is how I want it, because I've wasted ribbon. I'm like, oh, I cut it too short. Okay. Now you can use a pipe cleaner, which when you're learning how to do it, I would suggest a pipe cleaner, because actually they're not called pipe cleaners, are they? What are they called?
They are.
Are they still called? That's my old age. Because they're easy to twist and use and put in your hand until you know how to do a wire. So then all you're going to do is you're going down the backside with this wire. This wire is going to take the place of your hand so you can let go, if that makes sense. You're coming around and you're just twisting. That's why I say a pipe cleaner is easy to do for that when you're first starting out. Okay, So here's your bow, and then you can play with it. Because it has the wire, there's someone that I listened to who makes floral arrangement, and I just sounded like her. Oh my goodness, how did that happen? Okay. So go ahead and put that on that wreath, however it is. Just remember that you're pinching, bringing it towards you, twist. Pinch it, bring it towards you, twist. Just follow that. And it's going to take you a couple times, but then when you got it, you're like, this is so easy. Because to buy a ready-made bow is spendy, but you also have a lot more choices of ribbon if you make it yourself. So there you go. Yes.
If you were to go around a base, for example, and have your tails, your bow in front, at what point would you, because you want that color?
There's a couple different things you can do. Sometimes I just make a simple bow on a vase. I prefer to make a bow. I mean, you could have that color around the vase, and I see what you're saying. It's nice to have that around there. What I prefer to do, and so you just decide when you're going along at what point you want to go around and then cut your tail. Okay.
Okay, left.
Yes.
Like the center of a gourd, it's shaped like
Right.
that.
Yes. But I also, like I say, for the most part, I make a simple bow and just double knot it and then just make a bow for a vase, like you would when you're tying your shoe. Does that make sense? So nothing special. But if I want something special, I think it's a little challenging to work around a vase. It's slippery. I would prefer to make this in my hand. I don't really want to cut this off because I'm going to take this apart. And then I would take a skewer or something like this and put this in here underneath that wire. And then this has a wire on, doesn't have to, but that's helpful just to keep it a little bit more secure. Go around a few times. And then I stick this down in the vase.
What about the gourd? So, you know, how you go around the center of the gourd and.
You mean if you want to put a bow tie around a gourd?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
In that center part.
Right. Yeah. Then you can either do a simple one or at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you could stick this in the gourd too.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? It just depends. I just get frustrated. I get frustrated working around something slippery. That's what I mean. If the vase or the gourd stops it enough that it's not going to come off of there, that's fine. But if you have a longer neck like a vase often does, it's hard to make it stay right there. I'll put little glue dots on there and it's okay. I still feel like it's a little fragile, like it could come off or slip down. And sometimes when I'm just even putting it in the box to give it to someone, it has moved and I'm like, oh, I don't like doing it that way. So yes, you can, but I think you can just do it this way. Okay. Oh boy. I'm going to do an outdoor thing for you. Oh, the other thing you can do is in your yard. This is just one I purchased, but in the yard, when you find birds' nests they're all done, the babies have hatched, disinfect it if you want to. Birds' nests are great in any of those arrangements. In that rectangle that we did or anything else like that, put a little bit of moss here, glue a little moss in, and then here again, you're going to use these. Just stick this down in here with the wire. Pull it down and you can stick it down into your foam or paper or whatever it is that you had there to make it stable where you're putting it. Instead, you can hot glue it if you need to. I try to not hot glue a lot if it's something that's going to be outside, because if inclement weather comes or it's cold, even if it's covered, I feel like that glue isn't very secure and very stable where a pick is. But definitely, can use a glue if you want to. All right. Any question?
Where's a good place to get all your supplies, with picks, with wires and tape and all that stuff?
Online, Hobby Lobby. I can't. See, if I do it as my business, I can say all those things.
But you guys aren't supposed to.
But we're not supposed to as a MasterCard. Oh, I forgot my tag. Sorry. So any of the big boxes, purchasing it online. Can I say a brand? Well, I would just strongly recommend if you're getting tape and getting some of those things, get the Oasis brand, OASIS. I've never been disappointed in something I've gotten of theirs. Let me just say that. It's not always readily available. Otherwise, just go visit your local florist and have her order you some stuff. So, okay, because of my car was full and I'm not strong enough, I didn't bring a huge pot. Sometimes I bring huge pots to show you some things to do. So we're just gonna imagine, okay? So this is outside. I prefer to either put all sand or half soil and half sand this time of year, or in my Christmas pots, because everything stays put. In soil, you have to water it quite a bit. And in the winter, I have done that. I've put soil in and watered it, stuck my stuff in, and then watered it some more. And then when it freezes, they do stay put that way. But I think initially making it is easier in sand than it is in soil, okay? So one of the things that I want to show you how to do is, I think grasses are very fun. Sorry, you can't see me on the camera, I'm coming. I think grasses are very fun, but I think grasses are difficult to stick in to the soil or the sand because the stems are somewhat fragile, or you just have to keep doing all kinds of them. So I did this, but I want to show you how to do it. Okay. So depending upon what height you want, just play around with it. I'm going to show you what this is in a minute, but go ahead and put it wherever you want. And here again, because you're using sand, pull it back out if you decide you don't like it there. So what you can do is you can use a nice twig. I use a dowel just because I like the uniformity of it. And that's what I did with that. And so what you're doing is you're putting, is this the other half of this one? No, what did I bring?
A little dowel.
My husband cut these for me this morning, and I bet I didn't grab the other small one.
Would one of these work?
No. Well, you're just going to have to imagine. Sorry, guys. So I just cut that in half. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your tape again, this green tape. Do you see how I have it on there? I'm purposely letting you see that. I would hide it more, but. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold this around the dowel. And you're going to hold it down and go around. Okay. You want to, for a while on the top, and sorry, I don't want to take the time to cover it really well or have a few more stems. You want to take on the top, you want to let the rows touch each other for a little bit. So they're sticking to each other. But do you see how as I went down, then I didn't have to keep doing that. You can just start going like this and go all the way down. But like I said, sorry, this dowel's too tall. I'm sure it's just sitting on my porch or something. And then you can stick this in. Of course, it's going to be too tall for this. But the other thing I want to remind you of is that when you have a tall vessel, use this height to stick whatever you're in as far down as you can to make it stable. I didn't realize that when I used to do pots, and I would stick them like this far, and then some inclement weather comes and they move. And then my husband, who's a builder, was like, how far down are those? Oh, yes, really good point. So that's the purpose of the dowels as well, is you look at how sturdy that is. So, you know, how convenient that is to do that. And then of course you can do whatever you want. This is, of course, it's going to escape me. Yes. Thank you, Brittany. See, you guys don't know Brittany, you should. She's amazing. This I order. I don't grow this, but it comes sturdy and round. It's kind of like a dowel on the end anyways. And I'm not seeing what I'm doing. I'm not going to cut too many just because I don't want to waste them, because I will use them for an order. I'll take one more, Brittany. And they're very messy. Yeah. You want to do some different lengths. Okay. I'm not a fan of the dry dead. It's just not who I am, but I know a lot of people are. So that's why I wanted to, and if anyone who knows me is watching, they're probably laughing because they're like, yeah, I've never seen that at your house. So you could do that. Where's my curly willow? Do you guys know about growing your own curly willow? Okay, probably most people do, and I sometimes come late to the game. I'm not gonna, let me see. I happened upon this by accident, and other master gardeners who are watching are probably laughing like, Trace, of course you can grow curly willow. So a number of years ago, I ordered curly willow and had it in a bucket, and I got a lot of it. Now I'm just not going to cut all that up, but you could put lots of different sticks in here, right? I did bring some other sticks. I thought maybe not. I don't know. Sorry, guys. You can, of course, stack some gourds in here. You could put a lantern in here, whatever it is that you want. And I do have cattails, which are where? Here. Ha ha ha. Anyways, back to the curly willow. I had it in a bucket and I got a lot of it and didn't need it all. And so it was in that bucket probably for a few weeks. And I thought I should probably change that water. I went to change the water and they had rooted. And I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? Because they certainly seem dead, but you can get them a little green as well. And that's what those were. So I kept them that way all winter, just let them get more rooted. Planted them 2 years ago in my garden. And I have curly willow about this big now. The trunk's about this big. So I cut from it for the green on it, and then I'll wait and let it get a little bit bigger, but then I'll have my own. But it's so fun. It's in the center of one of my gardens for height. And it's just, I'm like, probably everybody knew that. I don't know. I just didn't know that. But I was like, so sometimes you can find something out by an accident. Of course, then I read about it as a master gardener. Then I went to some, went to a, reputable website and found out about it. Yeah, of course you can. And in our zone, I'm like, you can grow something cute like that in our zone. I loved it. So anyways, here again, I'm showing in some senses, I do stay with the odd and the different and a couple different heights, because I think that just sometimes is what you need. So here's the 3, cattails. You can spray them. I'm not sure what someone's question was. If they don't get knocked, they're not gonna ooze out. If they're gonna get knocked, like one of mine going into the car, I had to stop all things, pull it out, get rid of it so that I didn't have all that in my car. But otherwise you can, just hairspray them. Once again, I would put moss around here to hide all this, right? To hide all those stems, put some gourds, whatever it is that you want to do. But just forage around your yard, around the ditch, and you have something. Any question?
When you cut cattails,
Okay.
do you leave them out for a while to dry the stems, or are the stems pretty well dry?
I put them in water, and when I order them, I receive them in water.
Oh, you do?
And I keep them in water. So I don't know if that's correct. I could be wrong about that, but that's just the way when I go and pick up from my wholesaler, they're in the cooler in water. So I just always keep them in water, and maybe that does keep them a little bit better till I use them. They're not as brittle.
And then after you put them in a dry arrangement like this, are they going to last for quite a while?
They'll last through the fall.
Yeah.
I just get rid of them because they can get really messy then.
I'm sure.
And I'm tired of this look.
Yeah.
By the time Thanksgiving comes, I'm ready for all the Christmas and all the green, the red and the white and the glitzy and the,
We
all
have
that
a
kind of stuff.
swamp with an abundance of them, but I always wait too long to go cut them. Think, oh, I wish I had some. Okay.
I completely agree with you. And I used to do those kind of things too. And I just put a reminder on my calendar, because otherwise I'm just like, it's the end of September already. Even though it is, you sometimes don't think of it. That was, in light of picking those things. So any other question?
My mother used to spray them with Aquanet. Is that still, because I don't remember her escaping before she threw them out before Christmas.
Yeah.
Is it reliable?
That's a good question. I don't necessarily know that because I don't spray them. But like I said, this isn't my thing. It's my thing for a few weeks, and they'll last for a few weeks that way. I'm not one to bring this in then and have this in my entry for the winter, where some people are. So they probably do need to be sprayed in that sense, but I don't bring them in the house. This is an outside arrangement to me. And then I'm done with it. So I'm not don't have a good answer about that. Sorry. But it's just not me. I want color or, something else. So any other questions? Okay, that wraps it up. Thank you. And I got seeds for you. All right, so Love and a Puff told you about the arrangements. I'm gonna let you guys open this because this is the fun part.
And we can start them over the winter or wait till.
Yeah, wait till spring. They're kind of like a morning glory seed and that they're very hard.
Next month.
And so
it will
soak
be
them for a
part
few
of
days.
this updated.